Counselor Henderson? Here. Counselor Oropesa?
Here.
Counselor Grant?
Here.
Counselor Roebuck's absent. Counselor Moore? Here. Counselor Sanchez?
Here.
Counselor Stubbs?
Here.
Counselor Foster?
Here.
Counselor Best?
Here.
Counselor Peterson? Mayor Kintai?
Present.
Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you. I'll ask everyone to please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and invocation. Ladies and gentlemen, for the second month in a row, instead of an invocation, I will ask for a moment of silence. Retired Commander Bill Brown of the Roswell Police Department passed away. This is very personal. I worked with Bill Brown. He was, I should say, only 2 years older than my oldest daughter. And this hurts. So I'll ask for a moment of silence. Thank you. Please be seated. I hoped that I will not repeat that next month for anyone in this community. Councilor Oropesa.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. If I can get this button going. Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve the agenda for the January 10th, 2019 City Council meeting as presented.
I have a motion by Councilor Oropesa and a second by Councilor Foster to approve the agenda for the City Council meeting of January 10th, 2019. Any questions, comments, or discussion? If not, I will ask for a voice vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say nay. Passes 9-0. Thank you very much. All right. Announcements. At this point, I want to say a huge thank you to the city staff for their performance during the emergency landing of American Airlines Flight 1611. For those of you who are not familiar, this flight had a smoke detector go off in the cargo hold and made an emergency landing. They were a Dallas to San Diego flight. The airport responded promptly, the airport staff. The Parks and Recreation Department responded with additional seating chairs for these folks. The Public Affairs Department attempted and did successfully engage these people. It was just an incredible experience by the part of the on the part of the staff. And I want to call out Councilor Moore. Councilor Moore showed up there and took it upon herself to serve these 153 individuals on this flight. She served them food and beverage, standing there, excuse me. You were not sitting, you were standing the whole time. I saw that. And Councilor, I want to publicly say my personal thanks to you for doing that. Now, not everybody can do that. There's things that conflict. We all know that. We all have things that happen in our lives that prevent us from doing this. But Councilor Moore was there when I got there and was there when I left. So she's an incredible lady. Thank you, Councilor Moore. I'd also mention that my wife was good enough to come along with me on that day. And by the way, in that photograph on the Facebook page, I'm talking about a bass fish that got away from me. All right. Enough with the jokes. All right. We have some important people here. Ms. Jennings.
Good evening, Council and Mayor. We do have very important people here tonight. Tonight, I took it upon myself to put together this very fast presentation, but we have some really great athletes in the room and students and scholars and a great coach that I know that, Mayor, you guys wanted to take this time to recognize them for their outstanding achievement to represent our city, the city of Roswell, in the state football tournament. They are the state champions, and so tonight I would like everybody here to give them a big round of applause. I'd like to recognize their staff, head coach Jeff Lynn, their defensive coordinator Art Bolanos, their wide receiver and head JV coach Derek Gomez, their secondary Jordan Rodriguez, offensive line coach David Lynn, athletic trainer Lisa Sandoval, principal Ruben Bolanos, assistant principal Susan Sanchez, assistant principal Laura Gonzalez, their head manager and film Josh Morrow, manager and film April Robinson, film Gunnar Bird, manager Ethan Fitz, head freshman coach Tim Fuller, freshman coach and offensive coordinator Micah Trujillo, and freshman coach special teams Jesse Boggs. So give them a round of applause. If Coach Lynn could come forward. And Mayor, I'm going to take your picture. And then what I will have you, counselors, do, I'll have you guys come down as well, shake the student's hand as I call their name if they are here on the roster, and then Mayor, you will give them their city pin for representing the city of Roswell, and if you'd like to say a couple of words as well.
Thank you. Coach, you gave me a tremendous honor. You invited me to come talk to these young people just before that championship game. I will never forget that. That was an incredible experience for me, and I'm very thankful of it. I claim no credit for your signature.
Played really well.
They did. I mean, I'm wondering, how did those other guys make it to the state championship? No, I'm sorry. I shouldn't say that.
Yeah.
They're at the back. I see those guys. I see you. You're laughing. But you guys did awesome.
And then we'll have you guys come up. So bring all the names. We'll have you guys come up. But I think we should. Is that okay if I go through their names?
Yeah.
All right. That's all right. All right. So and I might mess up some of your names, so I apologize ahead of time. Jesse Reese. Justin Carrasco. Oh, yes. Can I have the council to come down, please? Yes. Justin Carrasco, Dylan Tucker, Xavier Gonzalez, Freddie Anaya. We'll have you guys come, if you guys will come this way and shake hands and go that way and then just stand for just a second. Where did I leave off? Freddie Anaya, Brandon Martinez, Dominic Cedillo, Amando Silva, Dominic Nava, Ethan Valenzuela, Jose Ruiz, Nathan Espinosa, Jesus Molina, Jaden Contreras, Joel Sanchez, Angel Caballero, Mariano Salinas, Zeke Gonzalez, Alonzo Acosta, Jaden Valenzuela, Roderick Cedillo, Cade Manzaneras, David Guerrera, Caden Graham, Marcus Pineda, Hector Terran, Danny Leos, Joseph Rentera, Talion Sanders, Nathan Sanchez, Nate Vasquez, Elijah Flores, Julio Garcia, Kevin Pudillo, Xavier Hernandez, James Perez, Oscar Becker, Dominic Sanchez, Isaac Hurst, Elijah Morales, Julian Vigil, Marcos Galvan, Andres Alvarez, Adele Pata, Marcus Terran, Zane Edwards, John Stone, Matthew Martinez, Mike Garcia, Josh Castillo, Gabriel Garcia, and Xavier Linnell. I won't break that. And managers? Ethan, April, and Brian. Thank you. All right, so now what we're gonna do, as soon as they get through and they get their pin, I'm gonna have you guys come over here. I'm gonna take a nice, good picture. You'll just kind of get in the windows. And don't be shy. All right, come over here. And then counselors, you guys are gonna have to squeeze in. I'm gonna have to scoot back. Okay, maybe we'll have you guys kneel down just a little bit. You guys are awfully big players. There we go. Okay, there, now we can see those counselors. All right. Go ahead, I'll let you guys go first. Joe, would you like to say anything? Lewis, want to say anything about our players? Okay. Everybody right here, this goes on our city Facebook page. I hope I got everybody. All right. One more, in case we have to crop it. Hold on, don't go there. Don't go anywhere, just real quick. You're kidding me, huh? I'm serious, she's the boss. Okay, there we go, that's better. Don't tell Kathy Lauer. Awesome, thank you. Okay. Before you get up, Number one, yes.
Still proud to be okay.
About silencing pen. Okay. All right. Next up, I am reminded by our city clerk to please silence your cell phones, me included. I want to say just a few comments here. And they've left now, but Coach Lynn had the honor of, or gave me the honor of inviting me to speak to this team on the Thursday before their championship game. And that was an incredible experience for me, just to talk to these and have a young man and have a conversation with them. And I will also add at this point that we owe an incredible debt of gratitude to those who choose to engage our young people. Teachers, coaches, we have many teachers on this council, and I appreciate them. I am married to a teacher. I'm the father of a teacher. What most of you don't know, I'm the son of a teacher. And the incredible contribution to this community is made by those who choose to engage in that profession. All right, moving right along. This is the Juanita Jennings night. Ms. Jennings. It is the best night ever in many ways. So come forward. We're going to do a presentation on city. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going to start with Mr. Nebb. Mr. Nebb, and tell us the ground rules.
Yes, Mayor, City Council. What you're going to see here is the end result of months of work to come up with a new branding campaign for the city. We're at the fruition of that now, and so we're really happy to present you with what the final branding campaign is going to look like, and then where we're going to head. Winston Peraza from Cubic is here. He's part of our new firm that is helping us with the marketing and preparation of this, and I'll turn it over to Juanita and Winston and allow them to go through the presentation.
Good evening again. Well, I'm so excited to share months of work with you guys, and I couldn't have done it without some of you. Thank you for taking the time to come to the meetings and provide input and give feedback, and especially to our department and my staff, Allison Gray and Caleb Martinez, and all the department heads that provided input. Like he said, it's been 6 months since they started. We've had various rounds of meetings and revisions, and I really hope you enjoy what we put together tonight. Winston and I are going to tag team it, and we hired this new firm back in July, and we gave them a very challenging mission. We have about 26 different logos that are being currently used out there. We're not one unified city. That was a common theme, the common message. We have people wearing, something that says Roswell Streets or maybe Roswell Library, but nothing is cohesive and nothing is consistent. And we have $1 million brand. I will say that true and true. Just last night, I was able to attend the sneak premiere for Roswell, New Mexico, the television series. Our city just received $1.6 million in earned media because of our city name. And so I'm so excited to share in this opportunity and do this with Cubic and with all of the staff at the city. It was a collective project, I will say. I didn't want to just say, hey, this is what we're doing. We had a lot of input, and even from some of you guys. So with that, their challenge was to unify our city, to unify the brand, and I think they've come up with some really great things based on all of our feedback when they came into market and then on the various calls and initiatives. So with that, I'm going to let Winston Peraza, he's the Vice President of Cubic, I'm going to let him take it away.
Thank you so much. Thank you all for the great opportunity that you have given me and my team to be part of this the wonderful process. It's been super fun. It's been hard and active and collaborative, and we're very proud and happy with the work that we're about to share with you tonight. Also, thank you to the athletes. That's a big deal. I know they're not here yet, but that was a big thing. Yes, like Juanita was saying, that this is it was an important challenge because there's multiple parts at play. We're working with the city government that has multiple departments with different audiences, different functions, and different roles to play in the community. At the same time, we're working with a brand that is worldwide, world-renowned. It's $1 million brand. Just as I was coming here, I had friends in Germany excited because I was here in Roswell. So this is a big deal, and you guys should be aware of that. The way that we approach this work gave us the opportunity to land on a very cohesive single statement that we're calling it a slogan, if you will, but it's much more than that. It's a brand platform. It's this declaration of belief. It's a confident and optimistic declaration of belief. So when we say we believe in Roswell, we are not just winking our eyes at the 1947 incident and the idea that people believe in extraterrestrial life or not. It's really about believing beyond that. It's about, again, a declaration of confidence and optimism, and that we feel it's very deeply rooted in this community. because we believe in our people. The same way we believe in our land, or you guys believe in this land, in the beauty of this land. You believe in the natural resources and the energy that it produces. You believe also in its history and the legacy that has made this community what it is today, and more importantly, what it's going to be. It's going to be in the future. We think that this statement of belief is it's kind of like the DNA, the glue that would hold all of this together, not only from a marketing and communication standpoint, but also from a cultural identity standpoint. I think that this statement of belief is something that has a lot of legs, and hopefully you guys will be able to use it in a variety of ways to foster economic development, to attract new investment, retain talent, and obviously increase visitations. So this idea of believing is again a two way of declaring our optimism and a hope for the future. As Juanita was saying, there was a kind of a big, complex system of different logos and different look and feels applied to the different departments. So our main, I guess, intention was to create something that was streamlined, and it was also easy, clear, consistent, and coherent. A system that could work very easily across the all the city departments in a way that it's also going to save money, it's going to save time, it's going to clean up a little bit of the way that the government does its business, and hopefully minimize some of the complexities that come from maintaining 26 different brands. So the first attempt our first approach was to see if we could update the current logo, the logo that was currently in use by the Public Affairs Department. And this is a logo that has some brand equity. We actually were aware of that, and we took a look at that and said, well, can we do to update this logo? One of the things that we did was we eliminated the double outlines to kind of make it more legible and more easy to read. And also we updated the support typeface to make it a little bit more contemporary, in addition to adding a couple more additional graphic elements that you can see at the bottom of the slide. But we wanted to take it further, and we took a stab at exploring other opportunities and other ways of expressing what we thought that Roswell could stand for, giving it new energy and again, a new consistent look and feel that could work across all departments. So we did about 26 different versions of this. I'm just sharing with you a few of the ones that kind of surfaced while we were doing our collaboration meetings with Juanita's team. And we, in the process of back and forth feedback, we ended up kind of distilling some of these ideas into something that was more concrete, easy to understand, simple, easy to use, and workable across all media. So this is where we landed. This is a new Roswell logo. It's composed of three elements. You see that there is an emblem at the top. It's a capital R. It's confident. It's geometric. It's simple and easy to understand. And it has kind of this element of the UFO that gives the negative space to the R, making it more recognizable, but also more unique. It's a very simple and easy to remember emblem. Then the logo type, which actually is the typography, the signature of the name Roswell, was created in a typeface that is artistic, is geometric. It takes some inspiration from some previous, I guess, civilizations that were here. I would say they never very and has a geometry to it. It's also modern. And then finally, we have the specifier. It's at the bottom line of that logo, which in this case, it says New Mexico, but it's a space that we reserve to include anything from department names to additional descriptors or just nothing at all. In addition to the very simple logo, we also wanted to create a color system that was easy to understand and clearly easy to use across all departments. Oh, thank you for that. We can see the color better now. As you can see, the logo works well in single color and two color applications. It will be very easy to use in print, on screen, and wearables, large format prints, et cetera, animations, et cetera. So it was important that this logo was, in a way, bulletproof, if you no pun intended on that, but just to make it work well and have a long shelf life. Another thing that we did was kind of trying to establish a way of categorizing the departments so that it's, again, a color-coded system that could be easily to identify. This is just a sample of how the different departments would be represented. Here's again, all this information is contained in a graphic standards manual that will be delivered to Juanita's team in the coming days. So you will have every single possible piece of information related to color usage, typography, et cetera. I don't know if you want to talk about this or.
So this is just another way that we kind of categorized it for the same type of recognition between life services, administrative, quality of life, experience. So you'll see it color-coded. Again, it's the same type of logo, the same concept, just in different colors, and it provides that flexibility.
So yeah, again, just all the support elements that you will all need, each individual department will need for all internal and external communications will be compiled in this graphic standards manual. In addition to that, we proceeded to produce some applications of this system for, in this case, stationary systems. You can see that there's a watermark version with a very clearly identifiable department name on the top right of the letterhead. We also created a simpler version. I don't know why this is showing in black. This is not correct, but hopefully you're seeing the right version on your screens. But this is just a simpler version of the layout of the letterhead and stationary system. And then this is another one, in this case is the engineering department, using the color that is allocated to that specific department.
With that, there's an opportunity to have merchandise and to have all of our uniforms and various departments kind of, again, represented in the same manner. So this is just an example of kind of some of those polo shirts that would be worn, out in some of our various departments. We also included a hat. So this hat would be, we have lots of hats that are worn in a lot of departments. And so this hat would then have the specifier underneath. So it could come in a variety of colors with those logo specifiers to identify each individual department. With that, we also have these two different options. So on the very top, the first three, those are identifiers that identify with the UFO, with Roswell, with the we believe statement or believe. If we wanted to be more serious, and for some of those departments that really didn't want to identify with the UFO, we included the typography with just the word statement Roswell. So again, this logo series is flexible and can be used in a variety of options and different ways. Same thing with the believe statement, a little bit more playful and cursive on the very top and a little bit more serious for maybe professional or economic development purposes. Here's another opportunity of how we plan to integrate it into the community, whether it's through local businesses that will show our support with the Roswell and the R, or maybe on the right side of your screen, the visitors on just the R with the believe. Here's an example of some merchandising that we've ordered. One of the biggest opportunities that we have is when they come into the visitor center, they're always looking to buy something, something original, something from Roswell. And so I've been working with Aaron Holloman, our city attorney, and we will be trademarking our logo and our brand moving forward and having this as an opportunity to sell it. And I hope that we'll also get an opportunity to sell it in the airport. Where's Scott? Maybe you'll let me have a little kiosk out there. But ideally, we're going to test it out with our new point of sale system that I've been working with Ms. Gilbert on, and that will come February 1st. And again, we're just really excited to have a cohesive brand that it's unified and it's the same and it's original. It's from Roswell. Here's another alternative option for some of the departments that really didn't want to have an identifier with the UFO. So it still meets the typography and is still part of the brand and the style guide, but again, it provides flexibility. Now that we have this great brand and this great logo and style and font and guidelines and actually a booklet that our departments can utilize when they're ordering uniforms or ordering stationery, now our job is to put it out there into the community, to represent it out of state, to get those people to come to our community. And so what you're going to see now is our tourism campaign. So we're taking what we've created and now we're putting it into media placement, so different ads and different concepts. So I'll let you take it away.
Thank you. So with destination branding, it is critical that we are very aware of what the cultural trends are, what's happening in the general pop culture, if you will. We are competing with hundreds and hundreds of destinations that are all looking for the same dollars, the same visitations, the same hotel taxes. So how can we stand out? How can we be unique? How can we be memorable? Well, Roswell is in a unique position to actually take advantage of very significant cultural trends that are happening even as we speak today. And yesterday, there were I think the new show on History Channel, Project Blue Book, just premiered, and I think Roswell is also about to premiere. So no other destination, or very few other destinations, have the opportunity to take advantage of that. People are already talking about Roswell. So in a way to connect, our way to connect the cultural trends that are happening with an expanded offering that goes well beyond the idea of the 1947 incident was, in a very perhaps humorous way, embraced the idea of the cover-up. We think that this idea of embracing the look and feel of the cover-up, the redacted documents that are associated with the 1947 incident, is a very interesting way of sparking curiosity. It's more, this campaign, it's more about what's not there. It's more about what I can't read. And that curiosity is what invites people to come and discover for themselves what else is there, what is going to be there for me. So we really are happy with the creative approach that we took and how it can seamlessly be applicable to not only the 1947 incident, but also all the variety of other attractions that are here to enjoy, whether it's outdoor recreation or local museums, the culture, et cetera, et cetera. So these are just examples of different assets that are being promoted, again, using the same look and feel, the overall concept of the redacted documents. These campaigns have been designed to work in a variety of media, but primarily focusing on digital media. So we created a series of animated banners that using HTML5 animation that is kind of not very intrusive, but interesting enough to call people's attention. And clearly these will land on landing pages directly on the website. So they'll be highly trackable and easy to to measure results from. And as you see here in these animations, we're just kind of taking the same formula and applying it to the various attractions that we want to promote. So it's a very seamless and again, highly flexible campaign that could work for a variety of things over a long period of time. These don't have sound, obviously, because they're just web banners. So we don't want to be intrusive or too intrusive with that.
But we do have one with sound.
Yeah. This is a traditional GIF animation, which is a static type of animation. It's a smaller file size and it works in a different way. But it's the beauty of digital marketing is that we can track exactly who is looking at these, who's clicking on them, where are they, what kind of demographic and psychographic profile do they have, so that we can better understand the audiences that we're dealing with and clearly and more effectively connect with them. Do you want me to play that?
Do you want to see it? Yeah. They want to see it. They want to see it. 6 months of work, you got to see it. That's a pre-roll video that will be played on certain YouTube channels, on Pandora. We're using a new programmatic system where we're targeting specific people that are looking to plan a trip and book a trip. And that's a really good segue into this Fly Roswell campaign. So we're taking the same logo, concept, brand, and idea, and we're implementing it into other departments and other entities within the city. So with the Fly Roswell campaign, again, utilizing that redacted concept, this is an example of what will be in the Denver airport. As you guys are aware, we're conducting research on maybe expanding a flight to Denver, and so this is one of our test opportunities to do that. This will tell us how many people clicked on the link from that area. These are charging stations, and you can kind of see some of the posters, if you will, that will be placed up there in the Denver airport. This is for an external audience, again, utilizing the pre-roll video with the redacted concept. Again, for external audience. And the reason we have external and internal, so external means they're not local, they're not here in Roswell, they're out of state. We will also have a campaign working towards our internal audience where they will, it'll be more specific to them. And so here is one of the internal things that you will see on Facebook and on mobile devices. It's a very quick roll. A lot of times when somebody is checking into the airport, if they want to connect to Wi-Fi on those external ones, they'll have to see our ad. Those are actually our longitude and latitude of Roswell. And so here's another one that will be internal. Again, a play on kind of what we've already been doing. Additionally, there was another department that we had an opportunity to use the We Believe and also the branding, and it's for the police department. So they go out and they go to these recruitment events, and so we created this one sheet where we say those who care land here. We believe in unwavering commitment. We believe on honesty and integrity, and you can't see what those say there, but that's what they say. The images at the very bottom, those are actually our police officers. We had a photo shoot back in December, and I just want to give credit to Captain Gonzalez for really helping coordinate and get all those guys and the ladies in there, and they did a really great job. This is another example of the packet that will be distributed at their recruitment fairs. We consolidated some of the information that they previously had and put it into nice clean. This is one of our officers, I believe that's Officer Reese. Again, taking the We Believe into the various departments, and just another example of business cards and a trifold brochure that will be utilized. Here is a video that we are going to be So this video will be played in very select markets around Roswell, targeting their specific demographics. When they go out to their recruitment events in El Paso, Texas, we will target this pre-roll video to pop up on mobile devices, tablets, and Android phones or anything like that. And that concludes our presentation for the new brand and logo system style guide and implementation into the community. So we'll stand for any questions.
Okay, thank you. I will say a huge thanks to you, Ms. Jennings, for doing this. And thank you, sir. Incredible. I find it a little bit disturbing about the FBI teletype, but we'll talk about that later. Okay. Have you told him about?
No, I have not. I was going to let you tell the story because you tell it so well.
We'll tell.
Yes, please.
I'm a retired FBI agent. I'm also an aerospace engineer, and I'm the mayor of Roswell. You think this is a coincidence?
You tell me. This is fantastic.
You're not cleared to know. But what I find particularly useful about or desirable, not useful, desirable about the We Believe is that truly embraces all parts of this community, including, although maybe not intended to, the faith community here. And which is very strong here in Roswell and an important part. And believers, yes, they believe, and they're here in Roswell. So those who believe are welcome here. And so I appreciate that context here. On that note, I have Councilor Grant and Councilor Orpesa. Councilor Grant.
Yes, I think this is a great idea and great branding opportunity for us. Do you guys have a plan on how you're going to roll this out? Just because we all know our big problem right now is everyone has so many different stuff, each department. So who's going to carry the big metal bat, Joe? Juanita.
Yes, So,
No, go ahead.
I do have a plan for implementation. So some of it, we're gonna start very small. Anything that we currently have in stock with their current logo brand, they will continue to use through the end of June. We've asked, we will ask them not to order anything new, that they've been using whatever 20, of the 26 logos that they have been using. Additionally, I will be asking the city council to invest in community branding integration into the various departments in the next fiscal year 2020. A minimal amount, but also just some opportunity throughout the, whether it's signage at different buildings and things like that. One thing I want to point out is that this logo and identity system will not take away from our city seal. So the city seal that you guys see up there on your thing, that will remain in place. But the overall brand concept for what we have, we're going to slowly integrate. We will have, for the first time, I think ever, I couldn't find anything, we'll have a style guide and an implementation manual that will help the various departments know how to use the logo, how to use the text, how to use the font, how big can your logo be on a uniform. I mean, I've seen some t-shirts that has, it's half of your shirt. And so we really want to look more professional, have a little bit higher of integrity of what we're doing and collectively. But yes, and then hopefully at one of our all staff will roll it out. Beginning of July is really kind of our time frame for that, but slowly sprinkling it in throughout the departments from now until June.
And those, like, the letterhead and envelope stuff was pretty cool and eye-catching, I think. Is that something that we will be able to use, like, with our water department billing?
Yes, I think so. Yes, right? Yes.
Okay. And then last question, kind of a little bit off topic. How much are we, like the Fly Roswell thing, how much percentage-wise of our budget's targeting that? And do we have any data gathering? We know we get the flight seat things, but I don't think a whole lot of people are flying in here tourist-wise. I think much more is, travel with hitting many destinations just in our part of the country. And I think the flying is locals and family coming and business interaction. So I was just curious, you guys are aware of that, or on top of that, that we're not overly spending for tourist attractions on flying, because I don't think that's really our usage on that.
Yes, that is correct. However, we do have some lodgers tax funding that in last year's budget, we had to use lodgers tax dollars up to $100,000 for the Phoenix flight as part of our grant. So while we know that it's mostly not tourists and it's more business, it still presents an opportunity to get the Fly Roswell name recognition out there. Our visitor center staff, Allison and her team, they go to the airport and they've been conducting surveys. We did our first survey last year. We had about 1,200 respondents, and we found the same thing. Most of it is business, primarily men, 55 plus. I'm welcome to send that out to you guys. Right now, the visitor center staff is conducting a survey that's more targeted, specific to Denver. I will be taking a trip to Denver to do some research in market in Denver for a travel adventure show to see if there really is that potential. If people knew that we had a flight in Denver, the ones that have the more disposable incomes, would they take a flight here? And so yes, we're well aware of that, but we want to maximize those dollars that are kind of free dollars for us to get the name recognition of Fly Roswell out there. So it's only $100,000.
And something that just popped into when you said you were surveying, went to a couple events this last weekend that had used QR codes, like at basketball games and stuff, where you can do the QR code, take a picture of it, or type the link in, and you can they were wanting to survey the entire, there was like 40,000 people in there.
Yes.
So are we able to do that, like target, especially coming off the plane, or, downtown Roswell, obviously?
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say that not only that, but I think the use of technology is critical, and it's a really good opportunity to not only save money, but actually get really strong data. I was telling Juanita before, and that this library of assets that you guys will need to deploy across all departments should live online. It should be almost like a mini, like an e-commerce, or not necessarily e-commerce, but an e-store of some kind, where all departments can log in with their own passport and download the graphics that they need that are already pre-approved and pre-sized for the applications that they need. So that on the side of the deployment of the identity system. On the side of data gathering, absolutely, QR codes. We're producing murals with augmented reality to actually tell an extended narrative for, in this case, it's a mural that we're producing for Hampton, Virginia, but it's a technology that could be used here as well. So absolutely, anything that we can do. There's beacon technology where you can actually detect people's mobile devices without them having to do anything. We're using that in Fort Bragg, California, where if you're standing waiting for a bus and there's a Starbucks nearby, my beacon can detect that you're there and can say, hey, you have 5 minutes, come in and get a cup of coffee. So I can send coupons that way. So all that technology is available. It's not super expensive. It's just a matter of prioritizing, and hopefully Juanita's team will be able to manage the deployment of the new brand and at the same time maximize the potential of this technology.
Okay. I think last thing I have, will like the fire department, police department have like unique logos kind of thing? Will those change as well?
They will stay with their current cities. We call them the SEALs, just
SEALs.
because they're such a unique entity.
Okay.
But they will have an opportunity to utilize something like that in a playful manner.
And then the Fly Roswell, that logo, like the example, didn't really integrate the new,
We believe.
right, like with the logo part, the Fly Roswell logo, is that still gonna stay separate? Because I think that's a lot different than what you presented too, kind of.
Yes, so we are looking to explore that as we look at opportunities to explore our flight service. That is one of the things that we're looking at, a next phase of this community brand, because there's opportunity to add some colors and really identify us and not keep us so specific to one airline.
Right. Okay. Well, I think this is great, and I hope we can roll it out good and
Thank you.
get everyone looking the same.
All right, thank you, Counselor. I have Counselor Oropesa and then Counselor Stubbs. Counselor Oropesa, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Is there a targeted area that you're going to be targeting specifically?
Yes.
Can you share that with us?
Sure. So we specifically, we're targeting those that are out of state in most of the ad campaigns except for the internal for Fly. That'll be here. We're also going to utilize some of those here for just the community branding to get the message. So one of the things that we're working on is a bus wrap. So with this new community brand, you'll see different assets to show our golf course or to show the zoo, creatures of flight, those types of things. Primarily, we're looking at West Texas because it's a drive market, very easy for people to get in the car and come to us. Phoenix and Tucson, it can be used for a drive market or a fly market. We've been collecting data in the visitor center as where our top 5 states are coming from, and right now it's Arizona, Texas, Colorado, California, and then foreign. So we're utilizing that. We're taking the zip codes and we're working with Cubic to identify the best platforms to place the media. One of the biggest assets that we got partnering with Cubic is we don't just have one person, they have a whole team of people. And so Ashton is our media buyer, and she looks at different options. So for example, we did a programmatic buy with Adara, which actually hones in and targets those American airline flyers. So one of our ads that just ran in October for Fly Roswell, they were seeing if you were an American airline user on your mobile device, you were going to see our ad. And so that's how we're starting our integration and our media placement. And I don't know if you want to talk any more of.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to identifying a target audience, there's all kinds of factors that go into it. Obviously, geographic location is one, like you were saying, driving markets and stuff, but also psychographics, like what are their behaviors? Are they prone? Are they candidates to be potential visitors for Roswell? And if so, for what reason? Maybe they're golfers, maybe they're into art, maybe they're into some other things. So we are able to identify what the psychographic profile of these people are and serve them the right ad depending on their interests.
Oh, excuse me. Is there any way that this message can be translated into Spanish?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Because, we're pretty close to the border.
Yes. So we've actually, I was speaking with Mariah a little bit. We were looking at working with the El Paso Chamber of Commerce and targeting Mexico for spring break. Normally at the UFO Museum, they have very high traffic for Mexico. The city of Las Cruces as well as El Paso had really great numbers indicating that they had a lot of tourists from Mexico, and we see an opportunity to do it there as well. We wanted to get through this, but it's on our to-do and wish list.
So it's coming.
It's coming, yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right, I have Counselor Stubbs and then Counselor Best. Counselor Stubbs, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to join with everybody else and say what a pleasure it's been working with Cubic and Juanita with you, and the dedication and the time and the interest that you have all put into this. So thank you very much. It's been a much broader research than I've seen before. So thank you all. Just a couple comments, if I could. I've said this before, so forgive me again. In looking at this tonight, I really don't like that S in Roswell. I love the font and I love what you're trying to do, but the S looks cut off and kind of squashed in the middle to me. So just my comment on that. The other thing, I'm tickled to death that you're talking about trademarking the brand, which is wonderful. I found something out working with an international organization that's done the same thing. You can also word mark, which I think is really something to look into for Roswell, we believe. I think is really important too. And then I was reminded a few days ago of the complications of, well, and I'll tell you what it was. It was Keep Roswell Beautiful. And many people would hit our web page assuming it was Roswell, Georgia, and vice versa. So I know you mentioned putting New Mexico in some of that, but not all of it. And have you considered it all? I guess it would be in how you propose it, that they're sure that it's Roswell, New Mexico instead of Roswell, Georgia.
Yeah, absolutely. There's multiple ways of doing that. I mean, obviously, it goes from a legal, legal trademark, copyright, intellectual property type of issue, all the way to perception. I mean, Roswell, New Mexico, it's much better known than Roswell, Georgia. And like I said, it's arguable.
Behave yourself or I'll have you removed.
And we did run into the same problem when we were doing our own research. We kept running into Roswell, Georgia here and there. So there's a lot of ways of doing that. Obviously, the more we can associate the brand with the state of New Mexico, the better. That's something that it's going to have to be done at a local level for you guys to decide when it's appropriate to do that. But yeah, absolutely. I think it's necessary and it's a good observation.
Well, I think unfortunately Roswell, Georgia, alphabetically comes up before Roswell, New Mexico, even though I agree 100% the notoriety is definitely ours. But I'm glad you're thinking about that too. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I have Counselor Best, and that exhausts my list. Counselor Best.
Okay, so with your premiere last night, I believe it was, on CW, and then you have another premiere?
With San Diego.
Okay.
Monday.
Is there any way we can track those viewers and grab those viewers with all the technology that we have? Can we get a hold of CW and the other station and track those viewers and send them the short commercials that we're seeing here?
Yeah, I think because it's a little bit late. I mean, it's a little bit after the fact, if you will, but we can certainly, try to identify and track them. In some cases, I don't know.
Well, I mean, if you got a hold of the companies, I'm sure they'd give you a list of who showed up. I'm not necessarily, because who showed up at ours is Roswell people.
Yeah.
But now they're going to premiere it. I think CW doesn't premiere till this week or next
So
week.
on January 15th, it'll premiere nationwide in 210 markets. We're working with the San Diego affiliate, CW8. They're doing a flyaway to Roswell. So they reached reached out, we coordinated a hotel stay, so they're actually buying it. The CW Network affiliate gave them $8,000 for the actual promotion, and so we came up with what they could do while they were here. So they're gonna go to the UFO museum, they're gonna take the UFO tour. The city paid no money for that promotion. There are also other city affiliates, the 210, there's 15 other ones that are doing watch parties all next week. Again, we coordinated where they're gonna get passes to the UFO museum. Jim Hill's been a great partner for that. They're coming to the visitor center and gonna get one of our magnets. So we're really trying to maximize the opportunity that we have with the show. Again, the investment that CW put with the name Roswell, New Mexico being the title of the TV series, I think we're gonna see a lot more upticks in our website, in our searches, and we're able to track that on our back end of our system right now through Google Analytics. And so I hope, I do foresee that maybe this year's UFO Festival, we're gonna have a higher attendance rate because of all the additional exposure. Each buy, if you will, is what they call them. They're running a 8 to an 11-week campaign that was leading up to promote the show, running on the CW networks. And so again, it was $1.6 million in advertising dollars that they've invested.
So I'm thinking with this opportunity, back when we had the 50th anniversary, I think it was the 50th anniversary, we did real good, and then we just like went tanked. And with this opportunity, because all the sci-fi nuts out there with Star Wars and all that, this would be a perfect opportunity to get on board and really pull these people in. And I think if we can get to some of our people in Roswell and have them give packages like Comfort Inn and some of those, and have them start giving stuff away outside of town, and we keep this momentum going, it's going to be great.
And I
My
want to say
opinion.
something, and I hope you don't take this in any way offensive or negative at all. I think that it's also critical to invest in the experience. What are we delivering when people come here? I'm being as frank as I can be. It's because when we turn visitors into brand ambassadors, that's free advertising. That's people talking about Roswell and how memorable it was, how much fun it was, and that repeats itself over and over again if they have a good experience. So as we're talking about promoting Roswell and getting visitors and doing advertising campaigns and stuff, also be thinking about how can we improve the actual experience of being here, and that's just a recommendation.
I agree with that.
Yeah, and I think it takes a very big group effort in Roswell, and I think Roswell, a lot of your citizens need to learn to embrace it. They don't like it. You know, they try to shy away from it, but they better get on board and like it, or the tourism is not gonna come, my opinion, because that's, to me, the main tourism of Roswell. We don't have the skiing or the horse racing or all that. That's Roswell, UFO. It is what it is. So, thank you.
All right, thank you, Counselor. Thank you, Council. Excuse me. We will talk later about that FBI teletype that you have, quote, redacted. We'll have a serious discussion here. But thank you. And this is a tremendous project, and this was a huge effort. And I will share my thanks again to Ms. Jennings. Thank you, sir, for your work on this, and I'm excited. I share with the other counselors. This is a tremendous effort. Okay, so thank you. I apologize, Council. I failed to recognize two very important individuals in our audience earlier. That's my fault. Sheriff Harrington, thank you for being here. You're Undersheriff Eastlis, excuse me. Thank you for being here. This is an important concept and a melding of this effort by our law enforcement. And Sheriff, you're not going to talk at all about when I used to work for you, right? Okay, thank you, sir. It's redacted. Thank the Lord. Yeah, he's embracing it. Yeah, it's good. We're a little giddy tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I apologize for not being our usual decorum because we're now on item number 9 of a 13-item agenda. Items 5 through 8 were approved through the consent agenda. So we're moving on to item number 9. Councilor Grant.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to make a motion for approval of Resolution 19-05 to recommend amending fiscal year ending June 30th, 2019. Approved budget to bring budget onto DFA LGBMS system.
I have a motion by Counselor Grant and a second by Counselor Foster to approve Resolution 1905. Ms. Garcia.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. This is an actual housekeeping item. Back when you approved the final budget, which was Resolution 1850, back on July 26, 2018, what we had to do was put it into our new LGBMS system. In doing that, we had some problems. So what DFA is asking us to do to correct those problems with the system is that our council go ahead and approve another budget resolution. In your packet, you will have a summary by our funds. There is some dollar amounts to it. You have some revenue funds and some expense funds. There are no transfer funds. But if you look at your packet and your file in there, you'll see the amount of change that will be hitting LGBMS. There will be no amount of change in our final budget. We did ask the Finance Committee to look at this, and they recommended approval 3-0 at the January 3rd meeting. And I stand for any questions. I also have my budget manager here if we have any specifics.
Councilors, any questions or comments about Resolution 1905? Seeing none, I will call for a voice vote. A yes or aye approves Resolution 1905. A nay or nay rejects it. All those in favor of Resolution 1905, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say nay. Hearing none, seeing none, passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Up next is item number 10, Councilor Oropesa.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move, excuse me, I move for approval of Resolution 1903, which is authorizing the submittal of a revised 2020 to 2024 infrastructure capital improvement plan, also known as ICIP.
Councilor, if you'll activate your voting box. Yes, I have a motion. Oh, one more time, sir. There we go. We have a motion by Councilor Councilor Oropesa, and a second by Councilor Best to approve Resolution 1903. Mr. Morris.
In last June, the City Council adopted Resolution 18-34, which approved the ICIP for between FY 20 and 24, and listed the top 5. Sir? Okay. And those items included the road reconstruction, bridge replacement at Lee and Deming, large diameter water valves, the replacement of some asbestos concrete water lines, and the fire training facility improvements. At the special council meeting on December 20th, the council voted to amend the top 5 by replacing the item number 4, or D, replace asbestos concrete water lines with softball complex improvements. This resolution, 1903, would ratifies those actions, and staff stands for any questions.
All right, councilors, any questions, comments regarding Resolution 1903? Seeing none, I will call for a voice vote. All those in favor of Resolution 1903 will say aye. All those opposed will say nay. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say nay.
Nay.
I have Councilor Grant saying nay. Otherwise, I have an 8-1 vote. Up next is item number 11, Councilor Grant.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to make a motion for approval of Resolution 19-04 to recommend declaring the City Council intent to use Urban Development Action Grant funds at the Roswell International Air Center.
I have a motion by Councilor Grant and a second by Councilor Foster to approve Resolution 1904. Mr. Fuentes, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, City Councilors, sorry. So I have a brief PowerPoint presentation to kind of go over some of the historical key points of this program. In looking at just the first action, next month will mark 38 years since the City Council at that time adopted this program. So I'll go briefly through the PowerPoint presentation. So it begun in 1977, the federal government started the Urban Development Action Grant Program, which provided $5 billion to revitalize severely distressed urban places. The program was designed to assist commercial, industrial, and housing projects that would not otherwise be built without federal assistance. So it really started a federal-private-public partnership. So this was recognized as a model for that. The program provided assistance in a wide range of activities from street construction, paving, curb, industrial building, new and rehab, water and sewer utilities, parking, equipment, office building, and housing and other uses provided in the guidelines. Unfortunately, the UDAC program ended in 1988 when Congress failed to fund the program. So the first resolution adopted by the city of Roswell was in 1979, and that was authorizing that was resolution number 1745, authorizing the mayor to submit a formal application for the Department of Housing and Urban Development Action Grant. The city held public hearings for input in the type of projects to be sought under this program and determined a need of $3 million for infill for economic growth in Northwest Roswell. In the meeting minutes of that, Development Director Collins requested the use of $3 million for storm drainage to make the property in the project area developable. In 1981, the city did use those funds under grant number 80DN 3508 for Central West Storm Drainage Project. And I do want to recognize the Lewis and Najjar and his department because they actually had the plat of that project from that time. So as a former records custodian, I really appreciate when somebody has records that old. So thank you, Lewis. Moving on to, so there was another application submitted for a second UDAC grant. And this was in February 28, 1980, the city, through resolution 1767, was declaring the city council's intent to retain the urban development grant money in the airport fund. In the first whereas of the resolution, the UDAC application submitted was to assist project expansion by Transportation Manufacturing Corporation at the Roswell Industrial Air Center. Now, in the third whereas of the resolution, the intent of the city council was that any money coming back to the city after the use of the project industrial expansion should be retained in the airport fund to facilitate additional industrial development at REAC. So this was kind of a revolving fund program. In the last paragraph, however, the resolution directive was for the funds to be used for the industrial activities of TMC, and I bolded this section of the resolution because it's very broad, which allows for other uses, is to use to facilitate additional industrial development at REAC. So these are some of the companies that benefited from this program starting in 1981. As you can see, we have the TMZ with $1.5 million. And since then, there has been several other companies that have used this program. In the last company to use it was in 2003, the Millennium Transport Company, and that was for a loan under this program of $2 million. However, I do want to just make a side note that in the last program of $2 million, not all of that money was UDAC money. This was a combination at that time of water, wastewater money. It was also a combination of a state investment fund that contributed some of that money, and also other city fund that we have, which is the CDBG Revolving Loan Fund. The portion that was only UDAC was only about $253,000. So I just wanted to make that note clear. So some of the activities and improvements made with the UDAC funds included things such as the acquisition of equipment, hangar renovation and improvements, rehab of buildings, hangar addition, installation of a paint booth, heating system, air handling equipment, purchase of building equipment and inventory for businesses, operational expansion and equipment purchase, HVAC system. So those all were the wide range of uses for this under this program. Now, in August of 2017, the Office of Policy Development Coordination posted on the HUD Exchange website a notice from the Community Planning and Development Urban Development Action Grant Portfolio. Now, the notification informed all of the grantees and recipients of UDAG that fiscal year 1988 and earlier were closed, and which ours is one of them. OPDC published a list of grantees who received the awards, but many were identified only by the grant number. So that made it very difficult to tie in where the city of Roswell was. However, in researching the records that the city had, a letter dated June 15, 1984 from then city manager James B. Whitford referenced the UDAG grant number B80AB350019. And right below it, this is just a little snapshot of the Region 6 list of all of the grantees that were listed there that were closed. And as you can see there, the project number is listed that ties into that letter. So that's, I believe, is our grant number. As you can see there, you can see the $1.5 million there. So now, in speaking with some of the officials, according to HUD, Community Planning and Development Office, since the program ended and the grant closed, there are no obligations from the entity with regards to the use of the funds. However, resolution number 1767 still remains in effect and calls for the funds to be used for the industrial activities of TMC, and again, as I stated, under the bolded part, used to facilitate additional industrial development at REAC. UDAG allowed a wide range of activities, and the language provided in the resolution is broad enough to provide flexibility on the use of the funds. So as of today, UDAG has a fund balance of $1,015,405. So the recommendation is to repeal the 38-year-old resolution, 1767, and adopt a new resolution memorializing the history and revise the dedication of the funds. During the Finance Committee meeting, Councilor Grant had a good question, which is, if the council adopts this resolution, does that mean it automatically authorizes the expenditure? And no, the resolution does not authorize the expenditure, one, because it has to have, it is my understanding that it will go through a process. It still has to be included in the budget, which will require council action, and it would have to be in the REAC CIP fund. You know, this simply allows the council to, one, revise the resolution and broaden the use of those funds, whether it's for infrastructure projects or any other use at the airport. So I do want to acknowledge some of the staff that helped me and kind of research this item, and I, you know, also recognize some of the people outside of the city who helped in answering the question. Now, at the very end, you see the name Marietta Frambro from the town of Taos. She has been working for the town of Taos for over 20 years. Taos was actually listed as one of those entities that had that program. So when I spoke to her, I said, and I've known her for that long, are you familiar with this program? And she said, what the heck are you talking about? So this is how old it is, and people out there, you know, have no idea. So again, it's a closed program that I feel we do have the flexibility to revise the resolution and proceed forward. So with that, Mr. Mayor, councilors, I will stand for any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Fuentes. Excellent. Councilor Grant.
I just want to say again, thank you for kind of this little task you took on. Call it little, but you did a very good job presentation-wise, and very thankful for the presentation you had at Finance Committee, and because this is something that, I mean, the mayor and I have been talking about this fund item since we've been here, trying to figure out what it is, what we can do with it, and all that. So I greatly appreciate the work you've done in making it clear of a kind of a muddy old situation, I guess. So I just appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Councilor Grant. I have no one else on my list. I will call at this point for a voice vote. A yes or aye approves Resolution 1904. A no or nay rejects it. All those in favor of Resolution 1904, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, please say nay. Hearing none, seeing none, passes unanimously. Next up, item number 12. Councilor Oropesa.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move for approval to authorize advertisement of proposed ordinance 1901, which provides for the change of time for future city council meetings.
I have a motion by Councilor Oropesa, which, Councilor, please activate your vote box, and a second by Councilor Grant to approve to approve the authorization to advertise for a future hearing and vote on proposed ordinance 1901. Mr. Holloman.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I had 8 on the pool for when we were going to get out, so looks like I got a long time to talk.
Think again, Mr. Holloman. I've got the gavel.
True. Ordinance 1901 comes about. This is part of the discussion of us moving into our new facilities at the event center. As you know, that event center is open to use for other events. Part of the space that they might be able to use would be our space that is dedicated for those meetings. They had approached us about considering moving the times and days of the meetings. On the December 20th meeting, this was brought to council for discussion. Did not seem that council was interested at this time in making that drastic of a change, but there was interest in having a change to the time to move from 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock. Our meeting day and time is set in ordinance, so in order to make a change between to the time, it would require a change to the ordinance. So now we've presented to you ordinance 1901, which would allow you to choose whether or not you want it at 5 o'clock or at 6 o'clock. Right now, we were just voting to approve to authorize advertisement to hold a public hearing at the February meeting. With that, I stand for any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Holloman. And council, I will point out this is simply an authorization to advertise, and also the fact that this body can choose something besides 5 and 6. This body could, in fact, make a motion to amend and make it 5:30, 5:15, 5:44, whatever you guys choose. But I think it's a valuable discussion to have. So with that, once again, this is simply the authorization to advertise for the future public hearing and vote, which would be next month. Any discussion or debate on that point? Seeing none, hearing none, we can go with a voice vote. All those in favor will signify by saying aye. All those opposed will say nay. All those in favor of authorizing the advertisement for a future public hearing and action on proposed ordinance 1901 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay. I have Councilor Peterson saying no, otherwise 8-1 passes. Mr. Nebb. You've got 2.5 hours.
Sir, Mr. Mayor, City Council, I only have 70 slides to show you. So Mr. Holloman said he would share his winnings with me. But I know Ms. Cole, and Ms. Cole's going to run the slides through there. I wanted to take this opportunity. You've seen it in the newspaper, the Town Plaza code enforcement, and I wanted to share a few of the slides with you to show you what we're trying to combat out in the area. And so if she can get this PDF to come up, otherwise it'll be a very short presentation, and I'm sorry. But
I think somebody had 10:22.
yes, well, and maybe that's why the presentation is not working, so.
We're losing it here, you know that? It's scary.
You know, the thing is that what happened with the Town Plaza is that we started to get calls and complaints from the individuals that were leasing the facility, and that's where we responded to that. So we don't really go out looking for a lot of this, but you can see that when we go in and we're checking out these complaints and everything. Of course, things as simple as safety railing on the stairwells, and go ahead and move on through, Sharon. Just keep going, and we'll go through these very quickly. Broken pipes and overflowing water. This is how they fix the tub.
Oh my gosh.
This is a kitchen.
Oh, my gosh.
And stop right there. This is part of the issue with that overflowing water. Okay, keep going. Silt trenches, and there's some better pictures of that. I'll stop on those in a little bit here, but right here, this is a pipe. What type of pipe, Bill? This is a drain pipe that has been unattached and just shoved through the wall. Okay. This is us trying to figure out what all is up in through there. Here's a sewer pipe that has a big hole in it. Here's a sewer cleanout overflow, and there's a lot of these over there. These sewer cleanout overflows are allowing sewage to actually run out onto the ground. And there's some worse pictures of this, and so we'll just keep moving. Here's another way that they've decided to access the sewer. I think there's the next one's, that's a really close-up one. Here's human waste on the ground, right around the sewer cleanout overflow. Water lines been broken, they've not been repaired, they're open to contamination. Keep going through.
Oops.
There you go. Of course, no good entryway in some of the cases. You can see a lot of the soffits and the damage to the roof and everything. And these are the things that we're trying to combat to make sure that these individuals have a safe place to live. Now, it's my understanding is that I believe some of the people that are living there are being charged $600 a month to live there. And this is what they get to live with. Electrical. Those are the big hazards that I wanted to make sure that you were understanding of what we're running into. Of course, anytime there's more appliances outside of a building than inside, we have a problem. All right, my cousins did that, but it's and so along with some of the just the regular care that has been neglected in this property, electrical lines not properly installed. There's very hazardous things here as well too, and this is the stuff that we're trying to combat. This is not a property that's been vacated. This is a property that is actually still trying to be occupied. And so this is not it's condemned at the moment. We're hoping that the owners will take it seriously enough to make these repairs so that our people that live here will have a place to stay. And it's worth it. You can see the roof there is open. So there's a lot of different conditions there, and we're walking through this, vagrants, and this is really just not a good thing. And I know we have a lot of conversations on worrying about individuals that need an affordable place to stay, but this is sometimes what we end up with affordable. And I would say that at $600 a month, it should be a little more livable than this. And so I just wanted to share some of this with you because this frustrates us as staff, because this is what we're trying to tackle with the Clean and Safe program, as well as that's a really nasty picture. And so I wanted to share those with you, because these are the residents in this area have reached out and asked for help. And so I just wanted to give you an idea of what this looks like as we're going through this. These are the challenging things we have for some of our properties that are leased out or rented out. So that's all I had for you. But I just wanted to kind of leave you with that. We are intending to have our first city council meeting over in March, over in the new building. So that's our intent, is to move over into that. That'll be our first meeting. I believe we have some open door requirements that we're going to handle, as well as I believe you have a Mayor Pro Tem election as well. So other than that, Mayor, City Council, thank you for tonight. A lot of great work. Hopefully all of our meetings can kind of go like this. Who won?
We're not over yet.
Oh, all right.
I have Counselor Best and Counselor Henderson, so this could go for a while yet. I have Counselor Best, you have the floor.
My quick question was, did I not see the roof being redone just recently for Town Plaza? I thought I saw roofers over there. And then while you're coming up, I had asked that containers, dumpsters, big dumpsters be put out there so these guys can start moving their stuff.
Yes, and on our tour this week, that was mentioned, and that's an excellent idea. To help get that stuff out of there, we're happy to do that.
And the apartments that are to the south on Sunset there, those all have new roofs. The Town Plaza, the only new roof is on the office building itself, and it's because something happened and they got some insurance money, but that's the only new roof that's on there at this time.
Also, can we get our wonderful volunteers from municipal court to go over and help start cleaning stuff up around there on their off time? Is that allowable?
I think that's going to be an anti-donation issue. Mr. Holloman, you want to weigh in on that?
Yeah, usually the community service is done for city properties, and so if it's a situation where they could have somebody else to pay to do it, then we usually do not recommend
If
that.
it's a danger to our public.
We would have to look into some steps before we would need to take some legal steps first.
If it's a danger to our public, because I know that tree there by the four-way stop, by the light, they cut one down, and that was pretty interesting watching them do that. And they have another one that's about ready to go down. But it is a danger to our road and our people.
We can look into that and see exactly what all we can accomplish with the help.
Counselor Henderson, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor. I just hope that we don't continue to delay our efforts to resolve this problem. We've been over backwards with the owner of this property. He's virtually ignored us. And the pleas by the people that are tenants within the building, I just think our patience is out, and that we just need to plow right ahead as quick as we can to get the thing condemned or whatever's necessary to resolve the problem. But this is really an embarrassment for the community.
And of course, the notice of condemnation has been delivered, and I believe the Housing Authority has offered that anybody that is eligible can get housing vouchers where we can help find them another property where they can stay as this is undergoing its renovation.
Correct.
Right. Thank you. I have Counselor Oropesa.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You know, he just mentioned HUD for those individuals that would be eligible. But what about the ones that are not eligible? Are we doing anything to help them in any way, shape, or form?
We're going to be able to, those individuals, and it's just a handful at this point, we're probably going to look at putting them up for a week during this transition time if they're not able to get out, but that's about as much as we can do. But that's enough breathing time for them to be able to relocate and try to do something else.
Putting them up in where?
One of the hotels, we've done this before.
And it's for a week, 7 days?
7 days.
Okay. So, and my question is, my other question is, why did it take so long to get this addressed? Because it seems like it's years and years and years of not maintaining that place.
I think what it was, and we've had those internal discussions, what the code enforcement guys and the building inspectors were doing previously was going unit to unit. If there was an issue, they would look at that particular unit and condemn it. not the entire building, not the entire site. And so that's changed. But they would repeat, they were going after the immediate problem in that particular unit and trying to get it taken care of. But what we found was that the owner would simply abandon those apartments. That it was too much work, they'd just close those apartments off and take them out of the inventory. But our policy now is going to be looking at the entire plaza, the whole thing at one time, and deal with the entire issue at one time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councilors, anyone else wishing to speak on this one? All right. Mr. Nebb, I appreciate it. Councilors, on Wednesday, Mr. Nebb and I went by Town Plaza and personally reviewed this. And Mr. Morris, I appreciate what you and your team is doing in this area. You're spot on. This is unacceptable. I share a concern for those who are not able to easily find alternatives, and I hope that the very strong faith community in Roswell could step up to the plate and help these families that are having difficulty finding affordable options to move forward. And our hands are tied in a lot of ways, councilors. As you know, we cannot do certain things because of the anti-donation clause, so we're restricted, but the faith community is free to do so many more things, and I would encourage those who may be listening or reading to possibly step up and help these individuals who have been abused, is a term I would use.
I would state, we believe it is possible for the community to come together, so.
And I like that, Mr. Nebb. We believe. We do. And is Ms. Jennings left? Oh, my gosh. She's worked hard all day. All right. Anything, counselors, any other issues or discussions? We've still got 3 hours to go. No, we got, 4.5.
Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry, me.
Oh, Counselor Stubbs, thank you for stepping up. 4.5 hours.
No, no. I'm just wondering if Counselor Henderson can explain his coyote here in front of us.
I think it has to do with their first item, if I'm not mistaken. Counselor Henderson?
Well, this is quick. This is a coyote that I received on one of our class reunions. But 65 years ago, this year, I played on the coyote team that won state under Dewey Johnson. So that was in the season of '53.
That was before they had face masks?
That was before they had face masks. And I've been accused of playing without a helmet.
What does one say to that? No comment. Thank you, Counselor. No face mask. All right. Anything else, counselors, for the good of the city? If not, at 7:33, we are adjourned.